You wake up, and the first thing you feel is that tightness in your chest. Not knowing, not being sure, not having guarantees about what comes next. Your mind immediately starts spinning scenarios, planning, preparing, trying to figure out every possible outcome so you can control it, so you can be ready, so you can be safe. This is how most of us live, in a constant state of trying to nail down the future. We make plans, backup plans for the backup plans. We research, we prepare, we try to predict every variable, anticipate every possible problem, eliminate every element of surprise. Because somewhere along the way, we learned that certainty equals safety. That knowing what's going to happen means we can protect ourselves from being hurt. But here's what nobody tells you. That equation is backwards. The more you chase certainty, the less safe you actually feel. Because certainty is an illusion. It always has been. You can plan every detail of your life. And tomorrow, something completely unexpected can shift everything. A phone call, a conversation, a moment. And suddenly, all your careful planning means nothing. Think about how much energy you use every single day trying to control the uncontrollable, how much time you spend worrying about things that haven't happened yet and might never happen, how many mental cycles you burn through playing out scenarios, preparing responses, building contingency plans for situations that exist only in your imagination. Your mind does this because it's wired for survival. Uncertainty registers as threat. When your ancestors didn't know if a sound in the bushes was wind or a predator, the ones who prepared for the worst survived. That's good design for immediate physical danger, but terrible design for modern life, where most of what you don't know isn't actually dangerous. It's just unknown. So, your nervous system treats not knowing what your boss will say in tomorrow's meeting the same way it would treat not knowing if that shadow is a bear. Full alert, stress hormones, fight or flight. Except there's nothing to fight and nowhere to run. Just you and your thoughts. And this constant background hum of anxiety about things that might never happen. And here's the exhausting part. This never ends. Even when you successfully predict something, even when your plan works out exactly as you hoped, there's always the next thing, the next uncertainty, the next unknown. You never actually arrive at a place of permanent certainty. You just keep chasing it, like trying to reach the horizon. Most people spend their entire lives doing this, trading their present moment for an imagined future. Never fully here because they're always trying to be prepared for what's next. Missing the life they're actually living because they're so busy trying to control the life they might live. But what if there's a completely different way? What if peace doesn't come from eliminating uncertainty? What if it comes from learning to be present with it? By the way, our shared space of light and awareness is on its way to 100,000 people. Thank you to everyone who subscribes and brings this moment closer. Here's the shift. Instead of asking, how do I make the future certain? Ask, how do I become okay with it being uncertain? Because that's the only question that actually has an answer. You can't make the future certain. Nobody can. But you can change your relationship with uncertainty itself. Right now, in this exact moment, are you okay? Not tomorrow. Not in the scenario you're worried about. Right now, this breath, this moment. Chances are, right now, you're actually fine. The thing you're anxious about exists in time, that doesn't exist yet. You're suffering over something that isn't happening. This is what the mind does. It pulls you out of the present, where you're usually okay, and drops you into an imagined future where you might not be. And then it makes you feel the emotions of that imagined future as if they're real right now. You're living through problems that don't exist yet and might never exist. When you catch yourself doing this, when you notice you're spinning future scenarios, there's a simple question that changes everything. Is this happening right now? Not could it happen? Not might it happen? Is it happening right now? In this moment? Almost always the answer is no. And that no is your doorway back to peace. Because peace lives in the present. Not in having the future figured out. In being fully here with what is. Instead of being half here and half in an imagined future. Think of a tree in a storm. The rigid tree, the one that tries to stand firm and unchanging against the wind, is the one that breaks. The flexible tree, the one that bends and sways with the wind, survives. Certainty is rigidity. It's trying to make life stand still, trying to make reality conform to your plan. But life doesn't stand still. Reality doesn't conform. The wind blows, and it's going to keep blowing. Peace comes from flexibility, from being present with what's actually happening instead of fighting for what you wish was happening, from responding to reality as it is instead of as you planned it would be. When you live this way, uncertainty stops being a threat. It becomes just the nature of things. Of course, you don't know what's going to happen. Nobody does. That's not a problem to solve. That's just how life works. The question isn't, how do I eliminate uncertainty? The question is, how do I live fully while being uncertain? And here's what you discover when you stop fighting uncertainty. It's not the enemy. Not knowing what comes next means life can surprise you. It means possibility. It means the future isn't locked into one outcome. It means there's space for things you never imagined. When you're rigid, when you're holding tight to how things should go, you can only see one path. And if reality deviates from that path, even slightly, you panic. But when you're flexible, when you're okay with not knowing, you can see multiple paths, you can adapt, you can respond, you can find opportunities in situations you would have seen as disasters if you were stuck in your original plan. This doesn't mean you don't plan, it doesn't mean you don't prepare. It means you hold your plans lightly. You make them, and then you stay present enough to adapt when reality shows you something different. You plan for what you can control and stay flexible with what you can't. What you can't control is almost everything. What happens to the economy? What other people do? Whether you get sick, whether the weather cooperates, whether that opportunity comes through, whether the world shifts in ways you never anticipated. All of that is outside your control, and trying to control it is what's exhausting you. What you can control is this moment, your response to what's actually happening right now, your ability to be present, your choice to breathe, to notice, to stay here instead of spinning into future scenarios. That's your power, not in controlling outcomes, in how you meet whatever outcome shows up. There's a different kind of confidence that comes from this. Not the fake confidence of I know exactly what will happen. The real confidence of I can handle whatever happens. Not I have it all figured out, but I trust myself to figure it out as it unfolds. That's the shift. From needing to know the future to trusting yourself in any future. From trying to eliminate uncertainty to developing your capacity to navigate it. From rigidity to flexibility. From control to presence. When you make this shift, your whole nervous system changes. You stop living in constant low-grade anxiety about what might happen. You stop burning energy on scenarios that don't exist. You stop missing your life because you're too busy worrying about potential future versions of your life. You become available for what's actually here. The conversation happening right now. The work in front of you. The person next to you. The moment you're in. Not planning the next moment. Not replaying the last one. Just here. Fully here. And in that full presence, you find something unexpected. Peace. Not because everything's certain. Because you're finally okay with things being uncertain. You're finally living in reality instead of in your head. You're finally here instead of always preparing for there. This is the paradox. The peace you were trying to create by controlling the future only becomes available when you stop trying to control the future, when you let go of needing to know, when you embrace the not knowing as just part of being alive. Uncertainty isn't something to overcome, it's something to live with, to move through, to dance with. It's the space where life actually happens, where real moments occur, where you discover what you're actually capable of instead of what you planned you'd be capable of. You've been waiting to feel certain before you feel peaceful, but it works the other way. You feel peaceful, and then you realise certainty was never necessary. You were always okay, even in the uncertainty, even in the not knowing, even in the moments when everything was up in the air and nothing was guaranteed. You're okay now. And now, and now. That's all there ever is. This moment. And in this moment, right now, you have everything you need to be here. Not to control the next moment. Just to be in this one. Fully. Completely. Without needing to know what comes next. That's where peace lives. Not in the future, being predictable. In you being present. Not in having guarantees. In trusting yourself without them. Not in certainty. In being okay with uncertainty. In being here. Now, breathing. Alive. Even though you don't know what happens next. Especially because you don't know what happens next. If this video changed something in you, write in the comments. I trust the unknown. Write it as your promise. Nobody